Wife.
Do you know what we're doing now?
Well, we are doing kind of a back-to-back episode now. So this is going to be out on Saturday as well as our other one that was out today. So if you accidentally skipped that one, we did our Q&A over Ezekiel chapters 46 through 48. And that's releasing the same time, day / thing as this.
Which is
our...
wrap up.
Yeah,
we're wrapping up Ezekiel.
Yeah, we're finishing the book of Ezekiel. It's amazing.
You guys, you did it. You read the whole Ezekiel if you followed along with us.
Yeah, we're really excited, and you should be too, because this is just incredible. We're getting through this thing.
We are reading the Bible.
We're managing to have fun. Like, this has been kind of fun, you know? I mean, I'm going to say, the Ezekiel Torah bit, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
That was some bullshit.
I'm not about Deuteronomy and Leviticus all over again.
Right. Ugh. But, I mean, overall, Ezekiel was kind of a, interesting character. I'll just say,
wheels, though.
Right? Yeah. some crazy shit happened, you know? But anyway, I am assuming we're going to go over a bit of what Ezekiel's all about here.
That's what a wrap-up is.
That's what, it sure is. All right. Well, let's go do this.
Okie dokie. All right, so we are wrapping up the book of Ezekiel, which I'm very glad to be doing.
I am as well.
The book of Ezekiel is the third of the latter prophets in the Tanakh.
The latter greater prophets or something? Or latter...
No, the Jewish version has everybody in a different order than the Christian Old Testament version. Like, we are actually, if we're going by the Jewish version, we are in the Tanakh.
Okay.
Which is, the other stuff that's not the Torah.
Got it.
Like, they have the Torah is the law. Then they have the writings, which is, I think it's the Ketuvim or something like that. I can't remember.
Sure.
The writings were... like Psalms and
the
Lamentations or something like that. Yeah, it was the writings
right. Okay. All right.
And then the prophets. There's the latter prophets are the Tanakh.
Got it.
Okay. And that means as opposed to the main prophets, which would be like Moses.
Right.
All them guys.
All them guys being Abraham and Moses, and that's all I can come up with.
I mean,
unless there was somebody else, but I can't remember anybody.
Was Isaiah a prophet? I don't know.
Elijah. Why is Isaiah a latter prophet? Or wouldn't he? Why would he?
No, not those guys would have been regular prophets. Ezekiel is a latter prophet because he comes later.
Right, but Isaiah came later too. So.
He was in the King's stuff, wasn't he?
I mean,
the Kings is in the Chronicles.
He was just before the Babylonian exile.
Right, so he would have been before the exile.
Okay, all right. So, I didn't know. I don't know how this all works.
I'm
just
fucking
checking.
know. Look, I don't know either. I'm just telling you some stuff.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, in the Jewish Tanakh, he's the third of the latter prophets.
Okay.
He's one of the major prophets in the Christian Bible.
Got it.
The second to last, as a matter of fact, because the next one we'll read will be Daniel.
Got it.
And I don't know shit about Daniel, except for I think there's lions or something.
Okay.
Daniel and the lions? I don't know. Why do I have that in my head?
Right.
I could be totally wrong. There might be clowns. Instead of lions.
There could be, yeah.
Okay, so Ezekiel records 6 visions. I wasn't counting, so I'm just going to take their word for it.
That sounds close, I guess, yeah.
Of the prophet Ezekiel, who was exiled in Babylon during the 22 years from 593 to 571 BCE.
Okay. All right. Just to clarify something real quick, though. Isaiah is a latter prophet.
No,
you said he was.
No, you're right.
So
I thought you said Ezekiel. You're saying Isaiah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Ezekiel and Isaiah are both latter prophets.
Right. I know. Okay. I got it now.
I just want to make sure we understood. So that's all. That's all. Okay.
Got it.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. So the visions and the book, both, are structured around 3 major themes. Okay. So first is the judgment on Israel, which consists of Judah and Jerusalem.
Right.
Okay. And that would be chapters 1 through 24.
Sure.
Okay. Next would be judgment on foreign nations, and that would be chapters 25 through 32.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was not fun. The third theme is hope, salvation, and future blessings for Israel, and that is chapters 33 through 48. And I'm like, if you say so.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
The book of Ezekiel describes itself as the words of Ezekiel ben Buzi, meaning son of Buzi. Okay?
Yeah.
A priest living in exile in the city of Babylon between 593 to 571 BCE, which I think I already said, but there you go.
Yeah.
Okay? Most scholars today accept the basic authenticity of the book, but acknowledge there were clearly significant additions by a school of later followers of the original prophet.
Got it.
Particularly those last chapters about the gates.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
According to Jewish tradition, the all caps men of the great assembly. Which I don't get into that because I'm not sure what that was.
Sure.
Probably should have looked it up. I think I meant to, and then I forgot.
Right.
Because that's how my brain works.
Right.
I do have ADHD. So according to Jewish tradition, the men of the great assembly wrote the book of Ezekiel based on the prophet's words. Okay.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Who knows if Ezekiel or these dudes wrote it?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The book probably reflects much of the historical Ezekiel, like the dude, but it is simultaneously unlikely to preserve the very words of the prophet.
Got it.
So it talks about him, but is not really likely to have been like a record of what he actually said.
Okay. All right.
Which, I mean, I don't know to be happy or sad for him, because what if he was like, but I did dream about those wheels with eyes.
Well, just I did a quick search while we were looking. The
men of the great assembly.
Right. Apparently, it was a council of about 120 sages that were active after the Babylonian exile, and they're credited with a lot of contributions to Judaism, and it basically revolves around them, editing shit in the Bible,
deciding which books would go in and which books wouldn't, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, apparently, this group of 120 sages determined what God said.
Sure.
That's what it looks like to me, anyway.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? I mean, like
that men did it.
I have all these conversations online with people about it being the Word of God or not being the Word of God, and there's a guy that I was talking to recently that was like, well, if you're taking the Bible literally, I'm like, well, I'm taking it literally because you said that this is the Word of God. So if it's the Word of God, then we're literally listening to God, right? But if we're listening to God, then 120 sages didn't fucking edit it after the Babylonian exile.
Right.
That's bullshit. You can't have it both ways.
Unless those guys were each led by God.
Whatever. That's a bunch of fucking shit.
It's like, okay. Right, I see.
Yeah.
So we just can't talk about it. Got it.
What we're discovering as we go through this is that all of these books that we're reading have been severely edited at some point by somebody and added to and taken away from. And if there ever was a Word of God, which is
questionable in and of itself.
At best, it's questionable. At worst, it's just absolutely ridiculous, you know? Which I think I lean towards more of the absolutely ridiculous side.
Same.
But if we're to believe that this is the Word of God, then these people cannot be editing the Word of fucking God.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
God is God, right? That God is supposed to be this all-knowing being that tells you what to fucking write if you're writing His Word. So don't edit it.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. That's all.
I mean,
sorry, I had to go off there just for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Ezekiel was born into a priestly family of Jerusalem circa 623 BCE during the reign of the reforming King Josiah.
Okay.
So remember, Josiah was a good one. Okay?
Sure. According to Israel. According to Judaism. Yeah.
In Canaan.
Right.
Prior to this time, Judah had been a vassal of the Assyrian Empire. Remember all that?
Yeah.
But the rapid decline of Assyria after circa 630 BCE led Josiah to assert his independence and institute a religious reform stressing loyalty to Yahweh, the national God of Israel.
Got it.
So that's why Josiah was like, we got to get back to Yahweh, man.
Sure.
To kind of reestablish a national religion to bring the people back together after having been serving under Assyria.
Even politically, that makes some sense. Sure. I mean, you're bringing your people together, and I'm sure against odds that are coming your way, because the falling of Syria or Assyria is probably writing on the wall as to what's coming for you.
Yes.
So
yes, he was like, we have got to band together. Religion is the way, and maybe we can just see through what comes next.
Yeah.
I mean, makes perfect sense.
Right.
Josiah was killed, however, in 609 BCE, so Judah became a vassal of the new regional power, the Neo-Babylonian Empire.
Sure.
Womp, womp. That happened.
Yeah.
In 597 BCE, following a rebellion against Babylon, Ezekiel was among the large group of Judeans taken into captivity by the Babylonians. So he was in that first group that was taken.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Ezekiel appears to have spent the rest of his life in Mesopotamia. Never got to come home. Although there is no legitimate thing that says that he didn't.
Sure.
But it's just not likely that
But I mean, all of his visions were visions of his homeland.
Right.
It wasn't like they talk about him being transported by God back to Israel, but they never talk about him actually going back to Israel.
Yeah, he got real silent after the end of his book.
Right.
We never hear what happened to him. So it's believed that he probably lived and died in Babylon.
Sure.
Which that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
A second deportation of Jews from Jerusalem to Babylon occurred in 586 BCE when another unsuccessful rebellion resulted in the destruction of the city and its temple and the exile of the remaining elements of the royal court, including the last scribes and priestesses.
Got it.
Okay,
yeah.
So that was pretty much the beginning of the end right there.
Sure.
Ezekiel was around 25 when he went into exile, and that would be another reason that he might have stayed. He's so young,
Yeah.
When he got there, he'd been there, he went there at a fairly young adult age and then lived there for several decades, establishing a new life and leadership.
Right.
He might have just wanted to stick around.
Yeah, definitely.
So he was around 30 when he received his prophetic calling.
Sure.
And around 52 at the time of the last vision, circa 571 BCE.
Okay. All right.
The Septuagint, which is the Greek version of the Bible, that version of Ezekiel differs slightly from the Hebrew version, the Masoretic version. It's about 8 verses shorter out of 1,272 verses, and possibly represents an earlier transmission of the book that we have today.
Okay.
There are also other remnants of translations into various other languages and just pieces that do differ from this as well, that were also likely from earlier transmissions.
Okay.
So just FYI, we do not have the beginning of the book. So what we have today is likely not how the book actually went, given the differences.
Right.
And that kind of goes to what you were saying with, dudes sitting around a table just filling in the blanks and deciding
what God said.
Yeah. So that further backs up that claim.
Yeah, for sure.
Previous prophets had used Israel to mean the northern kingdom and its tribes, right?
Yeah.
The others were, gone. Right.
Yeah.
When Ezekiel speaks of Israel, he is also addressing the deported remnant of Judah.
Okay.
So he's referring to everybody there and gone.
Got it. Yeah.
Which is interesting because he's the only one to have done that thus far.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other dudes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what I wrote here is EZ versus Deutz. What that means is Ezekiel versus Deuteronomy, or the Deuteronomical writers.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So Ezekiel is notable for suggesting individual responsibility to God, as opposed to, the Deuteronomist or Deuteronomistic writers, right? So Ezekiel's each man is going to be held responsible only for his own sins. And we're like, whoa, that's kind of New Testament of you.
We commented on that at the time. That was very different.
Yeah. And that is one of the controversial things about the book of Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Because it almost didn't get included.
Because of the difference.
Right, yeah. And this was one of the major points of contention.
Right. Well, it strikes me just on that thought process right there that the whole last 8 chapters, right? Where it was very much, very Levitical in reading.
That they might have added that to harken back to those older...
Okay, we know we changed things up over here, but we're going to bring you right back into the OT over here.
Yeah.
You know?
And that would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Since it was obvious that those were added later.
Right.
So the Deuteronomistic writers, of course, held that the sins of the nation would be held against all without regard for an individual's personal guilt. And I think we discussed way back at the beginning of Deuteronomy, why it was important for a culture to have combined guilt as opposed to individual guilt.
Right.
And it was to hold each other accountable, because the opinion of your neighbor did matter. You would be that much more inclined to not be a fuck up asshole.
Sure.
Yeah. Shame was a thing.
Right.
So, as we progress and get bigger and bigger and bigger and more populations, individual guilt is going to matter more than group guilt.
Yeah.
So, it no longer was as important. And Ezekiel, I think, understood that, and that's why he changed that.
Sure.
But
and I get that, but at the same time, we did talk about this during the OT and different times when they were talking about generational guilt, and that was some bullshit. Like group think, okay, well, that's one thing. Like to hold a society accountable for actions and have them police themselves, essentially, that's one thing. But for a God to say, okay, but I'm going to punish you for 10 generations or whatever, that was some crap.
Okay, I'm going to wear 2 different hats now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear my wife hat, which is, just a person in today's time married to husband, and say, I completely 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to wear my sociology scholar hat, which I'm not a scholar, so I'm talking out of my ass. But I have a little bit of understanding of sociology.
Sure.
And how groups think and work.
Yeah.
Okay. So thinking of this from a scholarly point of view, it did make sense, again, for them to have this, you're born into having this price on your head already.
Yeah.
Again, it was to keep the tribe joined. It was to keep them in line. And they would kick the can down the road, but with the understanding that it likely would never have to get paid.
Right.
And that's, I'm not saying I agree with it. Wife totally is like, that's some bullshit.
Sure.
Okay. But if I'm pulling myself outside of it and I'm just looking at it objectively from a looking back in history and how various cultures...
From a societal standpoint.
Yes. Yeah. It does make a certain kind of sense and did serve a purpose. However, as they became more and more civilized, is that the right word?
Sure.
Progressed.
Right.
And grew, and their tribe was no longer a tribe. It was more like an entire fucking nation. It made a lot less sense. And I will say, as far as Christianity goes, it makes no goddamn sense today.
Right.
To be born with a fucking price tag on your head for the sin that you know nothing about, that has nothing to fucking do with you, and to have an entire fucking nation or your entire family owes a price for something that you didn't do.
Right.
Like, that makes no fucking sense in today's time, because we are not itty bitty fucking tribes.
Sure.
You know, it's just whatever.
Yep.
So there's that. Okay, so Ezekiel wrote with a distinct ambivalence towards kingship, whereas the Deuteronomists reserved their scorn for individual kings rather than for the office itself. So that was another difference between Ezekiel and the Deuteronomistic writers.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ezekiel praised the Zadokites over the Levites, of course, because he was one of them.
Yeah, right.
The Levites, whom he largely blamed for the destruction and exile. So he was not happy with them, and also he was one of the other groups.
Yeah.
So he had reasons.
Very, very convenient.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Ezekiel blames the Babylonian exile not on the people's failure to keep the law, but on their worship of gods other than Yahweh.
Right.
So
Which is why he blames why he blames the Levites, I guess, because they allowed for worship of other gods or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
Even in the temple, apparently, according to the text that we're reading.
Yes. According to Ezekiel, according to the dudes of the table that made these choices of what goes in the book.
Sure. Yeah.
So, that is my recap. I have a pop quiz.
Oh, okay.
And I have the answers ahead of time so that we can do this in real time instead of having to go back and be like, how did you do?
Well, I think we're going to try something slightly different this time. And then going forward from here, too. Yeah. Where we're going to let you guys kind of play along with me. So I'm
going to make sure to repeat the question twice, and it's multiple choice. So I'll make sure to give the choices twice.
Yeah.
And then you're going to slow down your fumbling response as you think through trying to get it correct.
Yeah. So
to give our listeners a chance to
shout it out. Right. If you shout loud enough, I might hear your answer. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Just shout it out wherever you are and let me know what the answer is. That way I get it correct. Okay.
Yeah. Play along with us is what we're saying. Okay. So number 1, and there's 10 questions. Okay.
Okay. All right.
10 questions. Number 1, what did the Lord tell Ezekiel he has made him for the house of Israel? Would that be a curse, a king, a watchman, none of the above? I'll read it again.
Okay.
What did the Lord tell Ezekiel he has made him for the house of Israel? A curse, a king, a watchman, or none of the above?
I'm going to go with...
Make sure you slow down.
Let's see. I need some help here. Need some help, guys. All right. I think I'm going to go with watchman.
That would be correct.
All right.
And I got that one correct as well.
Awesome. Yay.
So this was in Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17. Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall give them warning from me.
Right.
Okay. And Ezekiel was Israel's spiritual watchman is what we're trying to say here.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watchmen were stationed on city walls to alert people of approaching dangers so that they could run and seek protection. So similarly, Ezekiel sounded warnings of impending judgment.
Okay.
Both to the unsaved.
He was a spiritual watchman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I said. He was Israel's spiritual watchman.
Right.
Both to the unsaved to turn from evil and to the righteous to remain faithful.
Got it.
Okay. So very good on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. And thank you for telling husband the right answer because he would not have known it otherwise.
It's all you help me. Yeah.
Okay, number 2. One of the 4 faces of the living creatures that Ezekiel saw was a bird. What kind of bird was it? Okay. Here's your choices.
All right.
An eagle, an owl, a hawk, or a dove.
And
I'll read it again.
I think I might know this one.
You might, but let's read it again.
All right.
One of the 4 faces of the living creatures that Ezekiel saw was a bird. What kind of bird was it? An eagle, an owl, a hawk, or a dove?
All right.
Boom, 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 boom.
All right. I think it was an eagle.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I also got it correct.
Got it.
Ezekiel's vision of the 4 living creatures in Ezekiel chapter 1 are identified as cherubim. Each of Ezekiel's cherubim have 4 faces, that of a man, a lion, an ox, and...
an eagle.
An eagle, yeah. Okay, and this comes from Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 10.
Okay.
As for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 had the face of an eagle, and that would have been on the other side that we didn't say.
Yeah. The imagery of those angels was pretty fucking just disturbing.
Disturbing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about them guys.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
So number 3.
Okay.
Ezekiel saw living creatures underneath the God of Israel.
Okay.
What did Ezekiel know them to be? Okay, here's your choices.
Sure.
Seraphim, cherubim, prophets, or none of the above. Okay, let's read that again.
Sure, yeah.
Ezekiel saw living creatures underneath the God of Israel. What did Ezekiel know them to be? Seraphim, cherubim, prophet, or none of the above?
Okay, I've got this narrowed down to 2 possible choices, but I'm not 100% certain here. So I definitely need your shout outs here.
Okay.
I think I know I'm going to get this one wrong. I think it's cherubim.
That's correct.
Is it?
It is. What was your other choice?
I was going to say seraphim because I thought it was something different than what I thought for some reason. I don't know.
He did see some seraphim later, I think.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why I was confused.
Yeah. But no, these were the cherubim. You got it right,
okay.
as did I.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we are kicking ass and not taking names.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So in his second vision, Ezekiel identifies the creatures he saw earlier in his first vision as cherubim through direct narration. So he doesn't tell us the first time that that's what they are. When he has his next vision, that's when he's like, and I knew them to be
Got it.
cherubim.
Yeah.
And I tried to do a search like, how do you fucking know though?
Right. Right.
And the text doesn't specify how he gained this knowledge.
Sure.
And therefore, nobody can answer that goddamn question other than, I guess God told him.
Right.
And then he didn't write that part down.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right.
So anyway, this comes from Ezekiel chapter 10, verse 20. These were the living creatures that I saw underneath the God of Israel by the Chabar Canal. And that's where he's referring to, oh my God, these were the same ones I saw that other time. With the wheels and shit. Remember?
Right.
And I knew that they were cherubim.
Okay.
Oh, is that what you knew? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay, so number 4. In Ezekiel chapter 7, how did the Lord describe himself? Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
One who heals, one who defends, one who strikes, one who provides. Let's read that again.
Sure.
In Ezekiel chapter 7, how did the Lord describe himself? One who heals, one who defends, one who strikes, or one who provides?
I'm struggling with this one.
I got it wrong.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? All right. I hope the power of the listeners comes to help this time. So I'm gonna go with provides.
That's the one I picked.
Damn it!
If you think about it, 3 of the 4 are he's so sweet, he's nice, and it's not any of those.
Oh well, that's what I should have picked. But I feel like they want to describe him as something better.
That's New Testament.
Okay. All right.
No, in the Old Testament, he's one who strikes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry, I got it wrong too.
Yeah.
The Lord refers to himself as one who strikes to deliver a message of judgment and impending punishment to the Israelites for their wrongdoings, and as a reminder of his power and authority to bring about both blessings and curses.
Okay.
And this comes from Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 9. And my eye will not spare, nor will I have pity, because I'm a son of a bitch. I will punish you according to your ways while your abominations are in your midst. Then you will know that I am the Lord who strikes.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what a fantastic
You go
guy.
bowling? That's awesome. I almost never get strikes. Husband gets strikes.
I do sometimes.
I get some spares.
Yeah?
I do get some spares.
You occasionally get a strike.
I'm just excited if my bowling score beats 100.
Right.
And that is so fucking low considering that like you're aiming for like 200, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You usually get up closer to 200.
Yeah.
I'm like, I beat 100. And you're like, good job, babe. Yeah. But I have fun with it. So, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Just don't play with husband because he does the pose and he like.
I do the pose. Oh my God.
You know where you lift the foot and stuff? Like, you know how to fucking bowl. You are like all for real about it.
I can't spin the ball. That's how bowlers, I've never been, I just bowl it straight down the thing,
Yep.
But the real bowlers, they spin the ball. So I'm not real. I'm not a real bowler.
I say as long as you get the score, that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at what I do, but I haven't got the whole thing down.
I have to say, playing games with husband is kill because he wins everything. Except, do you remember when kid was little?
Oh my God.
And we would play Candyland?
Yes.
You would 100% fucking lose.
Yeah.
And then as kid got older, we played Parcheesi, and that had a little bit more strategy, so you enjoyed it more, but you still always lost.
Yeah.
because you just cannot handle games of luck.
I can't.
You need games of skill and strategy, which me and Kid always lose. So it's no fun for us.
Yeah. So if you ever see us out somewhere, just if you bring a board, like a risk board, I'll be down for that because I never get to play here.
And
no one will play with me.
I will get the beers. I'll be your beer bitch because I'm not about it. All right, number 5.
Yeah.
Who was the father of Ezekiel the priest?
Oh, God.
You'll remember this when you hear them.
Okay,
I'm giving you the names. Ready?
Right, yeah.
Was it Buzi, Zechariah, Eliab, or Jesodic?
Oh, Jesus.
Who was the father of Ezekiel the priest? Buzi, Zechariah, Eliab, or Jesodic?
I don't know the answer to this one, but I'm gonna guess, and I really like this name, but Buzi?
Yes. You don't remember? Like, I
was leaning towards that one, but I don't know why.
I actually tried to, like, say it a couple of times when I was reading through the recap.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was on the pop quiz. So I tried to be, like, really speak clearly. I said it a couple of times. So you have no fucking excuse, honestly.
I mean, other than I wasn't listening to it.
Right. Yeah, it was Buzi. Okay. Beyond being the priest from Jerusalem and father of the prophet Ezekiel, nothing else is known about the guy.
Got it.
Womp womp. Yeah. And this comes from Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 3. The word of the Lord came to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the Kebar Canal, and the hand of the Lord was upon him there.
Got it.
Okay. And that's it. That's all we know.
All right.
Number 6. In the book of Ezekiel, where was the spirit of the living creatures? Was it in the wheels, the wings, the rings, or the firmament? Now, let me read that again.
Okay.
In the book of Ezekiel, where was the spirit of the living creatures? Was it in the wheels, the wings, the rings, or the firmament?
Now, I'm not 100% certain about this, but I'm going to take a stab at it. And everybody else, please, take your stab too, because I don't really know. But I'm going to say, I think it was the firmament.
Oh, womp.
Got it wrong.
You got it wrong.
Shit.
I got it right.
Did you? What was it?
What's your second guess?
The wings.
God damn, no.
I'm way off, apparently.
You're way off. No. It's the wheels.
The wheels.
The fucking wheels is where the spirit is.
On the bus go round and round.
Do they go round? Round and round. The imagery in Ezekiel's vision of the living creatures and the wheels with the same spirit points to the idea of divinely guided motion.
Is that's what it points to?
Absolutely.
Huh? Okay,
the creatures and the wheels are a unified entity, inseparable in their movement, suggesting that the spirit infuses them with both the will and the ability to move in perfect coordination wherever God directs them. Okay?
Yeah.
And that comes from Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 22. No, sorry, verse 21.
Got it.
I don't know why I said 22.
I just thought that was just really crazy fucking imagery. That's all I thought. So.
When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those rose from the earth, the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels.
I see. Okay.
Nose goes.
Yeah.
All right, number 7.
Yeah.
When Ezekiel ate the scroll, what did the scroll taste like?
What did it taste like?
Here are your choices.
I don't recall this.
Here are your choices.
Okay.
Sour as lemon, sweet as honey, bitter as bile, or hot and spicy. When Ezekiel ate the scroll, what did the scroll taste like? Sour as lemon, sweet as honey, bitter as bile, or hot and spicy?
I think I kind of know this one.
Okay.
Maybe, but I'm not 100% certain here. So, hopefully you guys at home or in your car or wherever you are get this one right. But I'm going to go with honey.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. All right. I got that one right as well.
I thought that might be it. And, you're taking the word of God. So he's going to want to just taste like honey, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not bile. Yeah.
In the book of Ezekiel, the act of eating the scroll symbolizes the prophet's complete internalization of God's message. By consuming the scroll, Ezekiel absorbs God's words and becomes a vessel for them.
Or a golem.
Right. I'm going to go with Gollum. Okay, this comes from Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 3. And he said to me, Son of man, feed your belly with this scroll that I give you and fill your stomach with it. Then I ate it, and it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
Honey-lipped vixens. Okay, number 8. The Lord asked Ezekiel to eat the food as a barley cake. On what was he to bake it as fuel?
Ooh, I think I know this one.
Keep it to yourself. I'm going to read the choices.
Wait. I have a question, though. Is this what he originally wanted them to bake it on, or after he compromised what he wanted to bake it on?
I hear what you're asking. It's on what he was supposed to originally.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
You know the answer.
I do. I do.
Okay, so was it a tray? Was it human dung? Was it chariots? Or was it a camel's back? And I'll read these again.
Sure.
The Lord asked Ezekiel to eat the food as a barley cake. I don't think he asked. I think he ordered.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, God doesn't usually ask, right?
Right.
Yeah.
On what was he to bake it as fuel? Was it a tray, human dung, chariots, or a camel's back?
Okay, well, y'all know I know the answer, and I think most of our listeners, if they are kept up with us through this book, probably know the answer as well. It's human dung.
It's human fucking dung.
Yeah.
Now, did he end up doing it? No, but that's why it says the Lord asked him. He was supposed to bake it on there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it strikes me that, and it bothered me back even with Moses, when some of these prophets are like,
Nah.
Right. They argue with God. I'm like, but there were times when people who argued with God
got smoted. They got smitten.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
It did not work out so well for them. So I don't understand this power that they think they have to negotiate with God.
Right?
You know?
Like, whom's the fuck, sir?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I just reminded myself of a thing that blew my goddamn mind.
Okay.
When I said they got smoted or smitten.
Yeah.
Okay, so smitten comes from the same, like, root word, smite.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that seems a little fucking violent to say I was kind of lusty or, in love with this person.
Sure.
I would, like, when I say I am smitten, like, I'm smitten with you. I don't, like, feel like I'm smited with you.
Right.
Like, smite is like, I killed that fucker hard, right?
Right.
God smote them. Like, I don't feel like smitten comes across as violently as the word that it is the past tense for.
Yeah.
No, or not the past tense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right.
So that bothered me when I made that discovery that that's one of the forms of the word smite. To smite.
Right.
Okay. Whew, that bothered me. Sorry. Okay, so the act itself represents the hardship and deprivation the Israelites would face during the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem. The act itself being cooking it on fucking human dung.
Got it.
Eating meager rations cooked with unclean fuel emphasizes the desperate conditions they'll endure. Further, in Jewish tradition, human waste is considered ritually unclean.
Right.
By using it for cooking, Ezekiel embodies the spiritual uncleanness of the Israelites due to their disobedience to God's law. And this comes from Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 12. And you shall eat it as a barley cake, baking it in their sight on human dung. Ew. Ew. Absolutely not.
Right. Yeah, that was interesting.
All right. Verse 9. I said verse 9, but I meant question 9.
Yeah.
Sorry. According to Ezekiel chapter 1, where was Ezekiel when God called him to be a prophet, giving him visions of 4-winged creatures? Was he in Assyria, Babylon, Egypt, or Jerusalem? Okay, I'll read that again.
Sure.
According to Ezekiel chapter 1, where was Ezekiel when God called him to be a prophet, giving him visions of 4-winged creatures? Was he in Assyria, Babylon, Egypt, or Jerusalem?
I think this is pretty easy because we just covered this in the last chapter that he was, or in the last episode, but he wasn't even in Babylon until he was 25, and then he didn't start preaching until he was like 30. So it had to be Babylon.
It was Babylon.
Okay.
Very good.
Right.
Yes. Some readers believe the visions were real experiences in which Ezekiel directly encountered God and celestial beings. Others view the visions as symbolic representations of spiritual truths, using imagery to convey God's message to the Israelites.
Okay.
Both interpretations have merit and can coexist in that the vivid imagery likely served an allegorical purpose while also being a very real experience for Ezekiel. Because he was high as fuck.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah.
Dude was cray.
Yes.
So this comes from, Shan, I didn't write it down. It's verse 1 of what chapter? Chapter 1 was in the question. That's why.
Got it.
Verse 1, chapter 1. Oh, yeah, it's the very first book. It's the very first verse of the entire book.
Okay.
In my 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day, while I was among the exiles by the Kebar River, the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. Okay. All right. So that's where that came from.
Yeah, Ezekiel started off strong.
It sure as fuck did, with a goddamn bang.
It caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It came strong out the gate, it ended with a fucking whimper.
It did.
How disappointing.
I blame it on the sages. There's 120 sages.
Those fucking sages weren't very sagistic. I made up my own word. Number 10. Last one. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Throughout the book of Ezekiel, God addressed him by a title when he gave him a vision or mission. What phrase did God use to address Ezekiel when he told Ezekiel to prophesy?
Everybody think real hard on this one. I'm sure you probably don't know it, so make sure you pay attention to the question.
We gave this a lot of
extra attention
as we read through it.
We did.
So keep keep slow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you choices and then read it again.
Chance to answer. Yeah.
Okay. So was it child of God, the chosen one, son of man, or none of the above? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's read it again.
Okay.
Throughout the book of Ezekiel, God addressed him by a title when he gave him a vision or mission. What phrase did God use to address Ezekiel when he told Ezekiel to prophesy? Was it child of God, the chosen one, son of man, or none of the above?
Okay, I'm not going to pause too long on this one. Son of man.
It was son of man.
You mere human.
You fucking worm.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yeah, that is exactly what it was. God would use this phrase throughout Ezekiel's life when he gave him visions and words to prophecy to the Jewish people. Son of man emphasizes Ezekiel's limited human nature compared to God's divinity. By using this common term, God makes his messages more relatable to the Israelites.
Bullshit. He's fucking calling them out for being lesser.
He's like, you pieces of shit.
Because God is a jealous piece of shit who is constantly like not happy with his creation and thinks horribly of them.
I can't believe that people made to be this way that I made are this way.
And it wasn't just that. That's the whole reason we do the you mere human, you fucking worm, is because he's called them names like worms and shit like that in the past. And it's all in the same vein. You're just a fucking human and fucking, you don't deserve shit. You're a piece of shit.
You know how I made you? You were made.
Right?
You suck.
Right?
Like, what?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Right?
So Ezekiel serves as a representative of humanity, receiving messages meant for all people. So Ezekiel's supposed to be our everyman in these stories. And I'm like, but you're not, though.
Yeah. Again,
you're just not.
I call out the limited power here of God because what? Yeah. Why do we need this guy? This guy. Why does he have to be the one that tells us? Yeah. Why can't you just tell everybody at once?
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be real fucking easy.
So
if God tuned into my brain radio, you know, and told me, hey, I'm God. And at the same time, I saw you be like, whoa, you know, and you had something happen. I mean, that would be pretty close to enough, you know? I'd be like, what the fuck was that shit?
Yeah.
You know, but no. He has to talk through some crazy asshole.
Right. So this came from chapter 2, verse 1 of Ezekiel. He said to me, son of man, stand up on your feet and I will speak to you. And that's all. That is it.
That is it?
That is it.
Okay.
You missed 2.
I did. So
I missed
like
1.
80%.
Yeah. Yeah. We did awesome. Good.
We did good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys did just as good.
I bet all of you made at least an 80%.
You think?
Like husband. Yeah.
If you didn't, no shame.
No shame. This book sucks.
I've definitely failed some of these quizzes in the past.
We have both failed the majority of them. So.
Right, yeah. But I feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That was good.
All right. Well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap on Zeke.
Yeah.
Easy Kyle is done.
Well, almost.
Oh,
We got one more episode.
We do. God damn it.
So this one and the Q&A for the last 3 chapters of Ezekiel came out today, which is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be back on Sunday with
we are doing You're Always Wrong.
Or Contradictions, as I like to call it.
And then we will also have
the
Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yes, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get the weekly the replay wrap up thing done after that. And then it will be on Monday. We'll be back. We'll into
Daniel.
Well, yeah, we're gonna be starting a new book.
Yeah,
Daniel.
It'll
be the 27th book of the Bible, everybody.
Who's Big D? I don't know. We will find out.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.